MagMongoSlade. Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. I am MongoSlade. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite, which has now become pretty much a very story-heavy show. And I want to say this. There is no real news and notes, not really. They announced the main event seemingly like 3 minutes before the main event actually aired. So I had no idea what I was watching this show to see. It just appeared out of nowhere. Oh yeah, Jay White versus Christian Cage, by the way. No build up for it. I don't even know if it was announced because I didn't look on social media. It just appeared. And that stuff really does a lot of damage to you enjoying the match because it seemingly came out of nowhere. Very much came out of nowhere. But we're going to talk about the major story first. Jon Moxley says that everybody in AEW now works for him. It's a paradigm shift. It's a new paradigm. He says that people don't like being responsible. Well, he will be responsible. He had a dream of a land of opportunity. And he said he hates what AEW has become. Too much dancing, too much celebrating. Then he says that he will burn down the forest to plant a new one. So then him and his goons, they assault Orange Cassidy and his friends during a 6-man tag match. Young Bucks and Kazuchika Okada versus Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, and Rocky Romero. So Orange Cassidy was attacked by Wheeler Yuta, and then that led to a gigantic brawl in which Top Flight and the Dark Order got involved. Both of those factions, both basically got beat up, however. Afterwards, Moxley said that AEW is indeed under attack, but this is just the cost of doing business. All this chaos that you see around him. And then later on, they were brawling again because apparently it takes these main event guys a lot more effort to get rid of these jabronis than it actually should. And this led to Evil Uno screaming at us about how much they love AEW and how much, AEW means to them, which I'm tired of hearing. And then Top Flight yelled at us about the same thing. While Moxley jumped into the back of a pickup truck and drove off. And they're keeping the world title in a briefcase. Like they kidnapped it or something. Like it's a heist or something. which is interesting. Okay. So, I'm going to be honest. I am enjoying the Moxley stuff. Moxley as this really disappointed yet furious guy who sees that AEW needs to change. It would hit so much harder and it would be so much better if it wasn't a monthly I Love AEW campaign from like STR or the Young Bucks or, Tony Khan or somebody. If this was the first time somebody was like AEW was under attack, in terms of company takeover. At the same time, I also want to criticize this because company takeover storylines has become way too prevalent in pro wrestling. I mean, my God, since the NWO did it, we have had numerous company takeover storylines. TNA had a bunch of them. WCW was filled with them. Whether it was the NWO, whether it was Bischoff and his team, or Vince Russo and his team. And then in WWE, clearly Vince was the unmitigated emperor of WWE. But you will often have these Raw versus SmackDown, or in the case of Bischoff and Austin, it would be like two guys sharing the throne or whatever. And this stuff was it's so much. Even MLW was recently doing it just a couple of years ago with Contra Unit. This stuff pops up every once in a while, and it's a sign that the company is creatively bankrupt. That they really don't have much else going for them. So they're going to do a company takeover angle. And these things usually work. They're usually interesting if they're done right. This isn't quite aces and eights because they're seemingly now going away from Moxley being the the agent of someone else to Moxley is doing this on his own accord, which is why he said, hey, you work for me, to all the slackers and all the other bums that hang out in AEW. Well, why didn't he fire them then? I mean, Moxley, since you're the boss now, why do we need Evil Uno? Justify that guy existing. They strangled, they lynched, what was that guy's name? What's his name? Alex Reynolds. They lynched him with a belt. That was great. It's got a weekly lynching on AEW. This is fantastic. Where else could you get that in wrestling these days? Hey, we're just going to strangle a guy. We'll figure out who it is when we get there. But company takeover angles, they're repeated. They happen a lot. I specifically like this one mainly because Moxley has always represented this for AEW. When he came in 2019, he was a symbol of what they call the paradigm shift. That there was a momentum that needed to change from how pro wrestling was for 15 years or whatever, when WWE was the unmitigated monopoly of the wrestling business, even though TNA existed, and so did Ring of Honor. But there was a paradigm shift on a national level. A superstar, big major star, left WWE TV voluntarily and went over to AEW and became the franchise player, and they treated him like that. Of course, over time, he's had to fall back, and then they push him in times of need, and now they're in these times of need. After the CM Punk stuff, the company got crazy. It lost a direction. It had nothing really behind it. So now you've seen the attendance go down, ratings go down, etc. Now they go back to Moxley, who is their old faithful, and he once more represents a paradigm shift, a new way of presenting AEW. And his performances have been good. Yes, it's been cryptic. We haven't been given a solid reason, about why this is happening, but his reason is enough. When you have guys just happy to be there, and he mentions, too much celebrating, too much partying. And immediately when he made that comment, the first thing I thought of is the Young Bucks doing laps in the ring in an empty arena right after CM Punk was fired, on Collision. I'm pretty sure all of you guys know that. That was the first thing that went into my head when he said that. And then to see that the Young Bucks were actually in the match that they attacked later on, it's almost as if he's daring the Elite to do something about it. Now, yes, the Elite just did a takeover storyline. This was less than a year ago. It was probably less than 6 months ago. It wasn't that long ago where the Elite was talking about how they're taking over AEW because they already got all the power already anyway. So that seems to be the direction that they're going in. They're going to end up having the Blackpool Combat Club, which I guess is what they're still calling them, because they were still referring to them as the BCC. And it's going to end up being them versus the Elite. The Dark Order is like, come on, why don't you guys help? And, Daniel Garcia, why don't you guys do something? Aren't you guys the VPs? Do something. So the point is, they're going to try to use this to launch the Elite as baby faces again. It's not going to work because nobody cares about the Young Bucks. All right. Unless they're going to open this up as a way for Kenny Omega to return, nobody cares about the Young Bucks. This is not going to work. Nobody cares about Jack Perry. This is not going to make them baby faces at all. Standing up for AEW and all that jazz. Nobody's going to give a damn, bro. I promise. But you can see that that's the direction that they're going in. You got these guys, the baby faces, appealing to the Young Bucks, saying you guys need to do something. Whatever. But I'm enjoying the Moxley part anyway. The Wheeler Yuta stuff I could do without, but Moxley, Pac, Claudio, I don't see anything wrong with that. Marina Shafir, I guess if you gotta have a woman there, you could probably do better than Marina Shafir, but they wanted to have, I think the shoot fighting background is probably what brings her into the conversation. So I'm okay with this. I like the angle. Clearly, they're still building towards making new stars. So that's why they've roped Daniel Garcia into this. He's one of the guys that they've been focusing on lately. Orange Cassidy, they're roping him into this. And Darby Allin, of course, is not mentioned, but they're going to do the Sting thing where he's not involved for a while. So you may see Moxley wrestling Orange Cassidy and Daniel Garcia and guys like that before Darby really gets in and starts trying to make himself the centerpiece of the company. They want to give Moxley some free time to run. But if you're going to do a big angle like this, Moxley should not be combating these jobbers over and over again. Like, beating these guys up earlier in the night should have been it. Like, that first attack, and they laid Top Flight out, and they laid the Dark Order out, that should have been it. Like, in Dragon Ball and in anime, there's this thing called power scaling, right? Like, certain characters shouldn't be able to beat up certain other characters. These guys should not be competition for your new heel angle. These guys should be steamrolled by that group because they don't win on TV. They don't do anything. There should not be any competitive matches between Blackpool Combat Club and Top Flight. No, they should be killing these guys. And I like Top Flight. I don't have a problem with them, but they're low on the totem pole, and you're not going to raise them up by doing 50-50 matches. If you really want to raise them up, you should have brought in somebody else to get steamrolled and then brought Top Flight in later. But right now, you need to establish your heel group. So they need to kill these guys, They need to just steamroll them. And then next week, there are some new guys that try to stand up, and then maybe some of the guys that you actually want to push, the guys that you're interested in, they show some backbone, they start arguing and fighting back, etc. That would probably be the best way to do it. But wasting everybody's time with Top Flight or the Dark Order, which I know are the friends of the Elite. The Elite love Dark Order. Well, the Young Bucks do anyway, which is it's embarrassing, if we're being honest. But overall, I don't hate the angle. I don't hate the Moxley angle. I actually quite enjoy it. All right, next is Adam Cole. He comes out there. He's very skinny. He's very tiny. And his promo makes no sense. First, he says that he told the Undisputed Kingdom that he's going to handle this alone. So that is a way of him trying to explain why those guys are not involved with this. Then he says that he realized that you got to fight evil with evil. And he's not stupid. He never trusted MJF. And that this MJF that we see is the real MJF. And he only cares about himself. He doesn't care about AEW. Then he says that MJF is fake. Everything about him is fake. His attitude's fake. His hair is fake. Then he says that if you're a young talent thinking MJF's past is the way to success, it makes him sick. Because it only leads to egotistical narcissism and loneliness or whatever. Then he says everybody hates MJF, including him. He hates MJF. Then he called him out for a fight. MJF did not appear. Instead, showed up on video. Said that there's a lot of jackals in the business and that Adam Cole tricked him. And that he'll never trust anyone ever again. And that his actions from this point are not his fault. That he knows that Adam Cole wants revenge, but he will never ever get Adam Cole in that ring ever. So he claims that he's never going to fight Adam Cole ever. Look, there's just no way of babyfacing Adam Cole after all the crap he pulled. I know in wrestling, you have to, a lot of it is sleight of hand. You have to allow certain things to play out because it's pro wrestling. So you got to take up, the Irish whip and stuff like this. But there has been no redemption for Adam Cole. They didn't go through the trouble of trying to redeem Adam Cole. They just said, screw it, we're going to throw him out there as a babyface. And because people are just going to be happy he's alive, they're going to accept it. And that seemingly is what happened. But this promo was terrible because we already knew all of this stuff already. And it felt like this was stuff that he already said about MJF. We've already made fun of his hair plugs. We've already said he only cares about himself. He doesn't care about AEW. Then I'm also, again, tired of hearing about who cares about AEW more than another person. How about everybody care about themselves? Just say that he's a bad human being, which is what we're saying already. But it's supposed to get him heat by saying, you don't care about this company. Nobody else is surgically attached to this company. What is wrong with you people? MJF basically just saying he'll never wrestle Adam Cole. And he's already said before that he'll never trust anyone after being betrayed by Adam Cole. It's like, blah, this, not good. Don't care about this, Adam Cole. Sorry. Try again later. Chris Jericho wants a rematch against Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe agreed, but saying he wanted a ladder war, which is a ladder match. And I shrugged. Okay. I don't know why. I guess just to pop a rating on Dynamite. They're going to need it. So it is what it is. FTR defeated Big Bill and Brian Keith. Who cares? The Outrunners came out there. They just ran around in circles and then shook hands with FTR. I didn't get it. It went right over my head. Whatever it was, I didn't catch it. I fumbled it. Moving on. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn said, we're heading to the gym. I have very conveniently have to have a reason to leave. So he does. Then the Acclaimed claims that they were the winningest tag team in AEW. They were cut off by MVP, who said when they're ready to be serious to give him a call. And then they said they don't want anything to do with him. Okay, why not though? You guys are been stuck in a rut for, I don't know, what, a year? 2 years? They've been doing Scissor Me Daddy-O for 2 years or whatever, and it's gotten them nowhere. I would prefer if MVP was hanging out with Private Party though. I think that would be a better usage of his time. But whatever. Since we're talking about MVP, let's discuss this real quick. Where you got Shelton Benjamin versus Lio Rush, which was the best match on AEW in a long time. I know people prefer your flippity-doo-dah matches, but this match, to me, was extremely fun. This was great. Not just because I like both guys, but because Lio Rush is the perfect opponent for a guy like Shelton Benjamin, who's older, a step or two off, but he's big. And Lio is small. He can bump. He bumps well, sells great, but at the same time, he knows how to throw out a decent flurry of offense. He knows how to hit quick, do these fast attacks, and that's really how the match was put together. Shelton Benjamin, slow, dominant. My God, the German suplex, the first one, not the one where Lio Rush did the cartoonish landing on his belly thing. But the first release German suplex was nasty. Absolutely nasty. It was great. Shelton Benjamin also showed off a little bit of his athleticism, even though, he's off a step or two, but it's been 20 years, my guys. Come on, cut him some slack. He slipped and fell and busted his ass, but it was great that he was even able to get up that far. But Shelton is huge. He's massive. Lio Rush is getting smaller every day. I don't know why. Layla Gray is with Lio Rush. I don't know why. I don't know why she's there. There was no explanation for why she's there. But if you were in the Discord, I posted her song. She's a singer now. She sings now. She's a baddie. She has a song called Baddie, where the lyrics are hilarious. It's something like her face card never declines. She's a 20 out of 10, fuck a dime. It was, what would she say? Face pretty, well, something, good kitty or something. So I'm like, oh, what is this nonsense? I just looked at the video because she was wearing all these nice little outfits or whatever. And I was like, hey, Zeus in heaven, why does she have to be cringe? Why isn't her wrestling character? That was the first thing that popped into my mind when I saw the music video. It's like, why is this not her wrestling character? But then I thought about it, like, oh shit, that's basically what Mercedes is doing. Oops. So, but she should be doing it too. Anyway, Layla Gray, can't go without mentioning her. She's fine. She's a little cringe. And she's somebody's wife, so I don't know why she's, oiling up for music videos, but it is what it is. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed Lio Rush versus Shelton Benjamin. After the match, MVP put a card in Lio Rush tights. And I don't know why he had to do that, but whatever. Then he says that Lio Rush ran his mouth, but Shelton Benjamin closed it. He said, Swerve is watching and that he should reconsider his position. or this could be his future. Then he said he wanted to finish the conversation between Swerve and the standard of excellence, Shelton Benjamin. Swerve accepted their challenge and said that these guys are mad that my minimum is their maximum. And he says that Shelton Benjamin broke a lot of collegiate records, but he's broken some records of his own. I don't know what he meant by that, but they're gonna wrestle in 2 weeks at Fright Night Dynamite. I got to tell you, don't have a problem with this. We knew that this is the direction they were going in. So I would like for Shelton Benjamin to win another match because he's not going to beat Swerve. And to be quite honest, he probably shouldn't beat Swerve. I know he's new, but Shelton's 46, maybe older. Swerve should go over for sure. Now, Shelton should look strong, but Swerve should go over for sure. So we're building up for the eventual debut of Lashley. But that means that Shelton has to lose first. So I would prefer if Shelton had won 2 or 3 matches and looked very strong before he loses to Swerve. But they're only going to give him 1, maybe 2. So that's unfortunate, but whatever. What can one do except book properly? But I like MVP and Shelton. I love them. And I'm kind of like a Swerve. I'm never a Prince Banana fan. I'm not really a huge fan of that guy, but whatever. Mercedes Moné defeated Queen Aminata because this was the blackest Dynamite in history of forever. The full Nelson leg lock that Queen Aminata did, she put her legs in between the arms of Mercedes and pushed her head down so her gigantic forehead was on the mat. That was actually pretty cool. It was a pretty cool submission. I wonder why she even let it go. Like, there was no good reason to let that go. Of course, Mercedes was going to win. So there was no drama of interest about this. People are starting to really get frustrated with Mercedes in-ring stuff and saying that, she used to be so much better. Somebody even said she was King Kong Bundy, and basically that she's being paid to do too much of nothing in AEW. And I don't think she's doing the best she can. She's clearly taken a step or 2 back. She no longer feels like she has anything to prove. But I don't think she's putting her absolute best foot forward. But I don't think she's in cruise control either. I think that sometimes her opponents are just not up to snuff. And despite the fact that a lot of people like Queen Aminata, she's an indie worker who has not had a lot of time on a main stage in a big main event level match. That's what this is. It's supposed to be like star versus star, even though Queen Aminata never wins. But given the opportunity to really show out, she hasn't really had that yet. So it's difficult to see how Mercedes can make her look good and beat her when she basically is a jabroni. Like, again, Mercedes is used to wrestling people who are already over when it comes to WWE, even in Japan. When you're wrestling people who are essentially jobbers and you're wrestling them in 10-minute matches, it's like, maybe if this was Rhea Ripley, it'd probably be a much better match. Clearly, because Rhea's a better worker than Queen Aminata. But also, the crowd would be more into it because Rhea Ripley is more over. And that would be generally the idea, is when one person is not really all that over, then the person who is over, who is trying to get over, has to do all the work of getting the crowd into it. And sometimes you just fail to do that. And I think Mercedes is failing to get people into her matches because her opponents are just not over enough. I think when her opponent was Willow, it worked out fine. But since then, because Willow is over, but everybody else has kind of been like one big old shrug. Even when it comes to Britt Baker, it was like people didn't really care about that match. And also, Britt Baker is not that great in the ring anyway, and neither is Queen Aminata. So the girl's not over, and she's not that great. She looks great, though. She's a beautiful girl. But, I mean, it is what it is. She's just not ready for the spot that they're putting her in. Maybe if you actually, pushed her and made her look good. It's for starters, if nobody knows what your finish is, nobody can believe in you. All right, I have no idea what that girl's finisher is. So how do I know she hit her big move on Mercedes? How do I know she hit a big move on Mercedes? I don't know where her moveset is. I don't know anything about this girl. I've seen her on this show numerous times. She never wins. Never. So it's hard for people to get into it. But that comes with people being, educated about your talent, which AEW is the worst at doing. They're very, very bad at educating people about their talent. Mariah May, she's had a lot of problems. She was talking very fast too. But her core argument was, where's the competition? She said that AEW was supposed to be were the best wrestler, but the best are afraid. And then out of nowhere comes Anna Jay, who is all charged in. She's all fired up. She got in Mariah May's face and shoved back and forth. Christopher Daniels got involved and ended up getting slapped. I don't know why. She apologized for slapping him. It was ridiculous. This overly protective booking has led Mariah May down the primrose path in terms of her title run. She literally has nothing going for herself at this point. She's out here begging for opponents, essentially. And, which is shameful, because I thought the idea being that the women's division was better now. And it's like, not really. Anna Jay was gone for a while. She went to work in Japan. I heard she got better. I haven't seen anything. But Mariah May ran down this list like, Britt Baker's gone. Thunder Rosa's gone. Serena Deeb, I think, is gone. Like, there's nobody left. It's like, okay, what about Chris Statlander? Crickets. Crickets, I don't know. Toni Storm is in Mexico, apparently. And now she's the #1 female wrestler in the world, according to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. If you think I'm going to be upset about this, you're wrong. Not only do I agree that she is #1, but I don't care about this anyway. It's voted on by marks. Now, the reason why you would vote her #1, she's been the most visible women's wrestler. She's not the most over. Rhea Ripley's the most over. But Rhea Ripley wrestles like once every 2 months, and she was injured for a while too. And I know people want to say, well, Roxanne Perez, look, that's NXT. We can, ixnay on Roxanne Perez, and she doesn't have any personality. So Toni Storm is a good, safe choice for best female wrestler in the world over the past year. It's a good, safe choice to have Toni Storm. She's in one of the better stories. She's been very visible. Her character's super over. She was a world champion. What can you say? Anyway, Mariah May is in a really bad state of affairs because they need some competition for her, and they do not have it. So they instead going to feed her Anna Jay. Do I have a problem with Anna Jay? Not really. Do I care about Anna Jay? Nope. So it's just going to be two very cute girls going at it. That ought to be fine. It's NXT level stuff right there. Ricochet, he's saying he didn't get beaten in a triple threat match, which of course he said this. Then he says, to be the best in the world, your matches have to dictate who is the best. Then he says, the most dangerous words in AEW, I will be on Collision. I will be on Collision. That's when you know your AEW career is going down, down, down. Daniel Garcia is squaring up with the Elite. He's yelling up at the TNT champion, Jack Perry. You got the Dark Order and Top Flight. All these guys is mixed in with the main event guys, apparently. But Ricochet, he's going to be on Collision. That's what he wants to do. He wants to prove himself on Collision. Wow. Oh, boy. How long he been there? 2 months, maybe? 2.5 months? Already on Collision. Man, he got that. He's getting that Deonna Purrazzo push. Oh, buddy. Oh, that's no good. Oh, I feel so bad for him. I would feel worse for him, but, what can you do? Just get paid, bro. Just get your money and get out of here. All right, Private Party. They want a rematch against the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks said no. Stokely Hathaway then said that they don't deserve a championship match, but if they manage to get one, they should break up if they lose, because Isaiah Cassidy has all the trappings of a solo star anyway, so they should break up. And I was like, didn't the Young Bucks say no? They said no. So I don't know why I get that, you want to tease that Private Party needs to take this thing more serious, which is what we already got. And if you're going to say Private Party loses, they break up, that just makes it obvious that they're going to win. So that doesn't really help us at all here in this situation. Doesn't help me at all. In terms of Isaiah Cassidy being a solo act, do we need any more solo wrestlers? No, we need good tag team feuds. So I don't know, but how are they going to manage to get a championship match? I'm interested in that. The Elite, they threw a birthday celebration for Kenny Omega because today is a very special day. Then they talked about his diverticulitis, and they said 10 feet or 20 feet of his guts were removed due to diverticulitis. And then they got him a cake. It was a black cake with red lettering. And then they dumped chicken gizzards all over the cake. And then Okada says, "Happy birthday, beach." And then Jack Perry says, "Get well soon or die." And I heard that Kenny Omega might be, about 3 or 4 months away from a return. And this is kind of a setup to it, but clearly, because the Elite, everything with the Elite is winking and nodding anyway, you can't really take this seriously. The fact that they even brought Kenny Omega up says that they only did this because they're friends. This is like one of those things where you got your jerk friends who call you and tell you fuck you on your birthday, or call you old man or something like that. It's not coming across like heels really denigrating a guy's birthday. I mean, whatever. Moving on. Don Callis was out there. Brian Cage is with him. Why is it? Since when is Brian Cage with Don Callis? Maybe he's been. I haven't been paying attention. I haven't seen Brian Cage on TV in forever. Brian Cage is also wearing a belt. It's a Ring of Honor belt. If I remember closely, it was a TV belt, maybe. Bro, who cares? The biggest hilarious thing here is Spartan brand Drew McIntyre with Lance Archer. Holy shit. It almost came across like a rib, right? Like he's standing there and he has a coat that looks exactly like Drew McIntyre's coat. And he looks like Drew McIntyre if you bought him out of a food pantry. He looks like a extreme knockoff Drew McIntyre with the gut. And I'm just going to get like, this is shameful. Look, I already don't like the guy. So you gave me a reason to not like him. And then the cosplaying continues because Takeshita comes out there, cuts a promo in English, and he sounds like Bolo from Bloodsport. "You want championship? Come and take it from me." I'm like, oh, holy shit. And then Kyle Fletcher with this gigantic denim jacket. He wearing his big brother's denim jacket. He won't explain his heel turn. And I just looked, I was like, man, this is bad. This is really bad. I like Takeshita though. So I'm not gonna shit on him too much. His English is his second language, man. So it is what it is. It's always gonna come out weird when English is your second language. But the rest of these guys, come on, man. Brian Cage, big muscly for no reason. Spartan brand, Drew McIntyre, Lance Archer, and I guess bad guy, Future Trunks, Kyle Fletcher. Man, get these people out of here. Get these people off TV, man. These people are useless. Get these people off TV, please. What a menagerie of bums and ne'er-do-wells. And the main event featured Christian Cage defeating Jay White with a little bit of help from Hangman Page, who gave him a buckshot lariat when the referee wasn't looking. And that's it. That's the entirety of the show. The main event, I didn't care about the main event because, again, I didn't know it was even occurring until, boom, it was there. And at that point, I was pretty much burned out on the show. I thought this thing was going a little long. I didn't know what the main event... I thought the main event was going to be more Moxley stuff, but no. Christian can still go at his age, but I don't know what this match was for. Like, what's the purpose of him fighting Jay White? Maybe they explained it. I wasn't paying attention, but whatever. But they're continuing Jay White and Hangman Page, much to my chagrin. Okay, so Dynamite. I loved Shelton Benjamin and Leo Rush. I thought that was pretty good. The Moxley story is very interesting, as is the Swerve story with MVP. The rest of the card, however, is not so much, not very interesting at all. The tag team division, 6-man tag division, all that shit is in shambles. But this is AEW, so what can you do? The women's division is in shambles as well. It's in real bad straits. And I don't know what more you can do. Adam Cole and MJF, I feel like this thing's been going on for 2 years, and we've been saying the same thing over and over again. So that sucks. So let me know what you guys think. And I'll talk to you young folks later. Peace out. No one does it better.